Welcome back to Kringle's Christmas Stories, brought to you by KringlesChristmas.com, home of Comet's Choice premium reindeer food. Reindeer tested, Santa approved. Tonight, we have a very special story. It's about two siblings, Emily and Charlie, and their Christmas memories. And as you listen, I want you to think about your own Christmas memories, the traditions that have shaped your holidays. So get cozy, grab a cup of hot cocoa, and let's dive into this heartwarming story. Years later, years passed, and Christmas took on a different rhythm as Emily and Charlie grew up. The magic of Santa shifted from a question of how does he do it to a deep appreciation for what he'd always left behind. Even as adults, the memories of their childhood Christmases filled them with warmth and wonder. It was during one quiet December evening, long after the whirlwind of those early Christmas mornings, that Emily and Charlie found themselves reflecting on the traditions that had shaped them. They were decorating Emily's tree together, a tall, full pine, much like the one that had always stood in their living room back in Maplewood. The same silver-winged angel perched at the top, her serene face unchanged, watching over them just as she had all those years ago. "Do you ever think about the way Santa worked his magic?" Charlie asked, holding up a familiar ornament, a popsicle stick reindeer they'd made together as kids. Emily paused, her hands brushing the pine needles as she adjusted a strand of lights. "I think about it all the time," she said. "How he always seemed to know what we wanted, even when we didn't say it out loud." Charlie smiled as he hung the reindeer on a low branch. "Yeah, like that Super Ranger backpack. I still remember opening it and thinking, how did he know? I never told anyone." Emily chuckled softly, reaching into the ornament box. "Or that set of ink and brushes he left for me. I didn't even dare to ask for them, but they were exactly what I wanted." For a moment, they worked in silence, the soft glow of the Christmas lights wrapping around them. Then Charlie leaned back against the couch, his voice quieter. "You know what I think now?" he asked. "I think Santa left his best gifts at our house. Grandma's tree was amazing, and the presents there were incredible. But the gifts we got at home, they were different. They felt like they were for us, like he knew us better than we knew ourselves." Emily nodded, her eyes lingering on the angel at the top of the tree. "Grandma's house was big and bright, and I'm so grateful for everything we had there. But home—" She trailed off, her voice full of emotion. Home was where Santa really saw us. As they talked, their thoughts turned to their mom. "I didn't understand how much Mom did for us back then," Emily admitted. "She worked so hard, and we were just focused on the presents and the decorations. But she gave us so much more than that." Charlie nodded, his brow furrowing in thought. "I remember how she'd drive through the snow to get to Grandma's on Christmas Eve, no matter how tired she was. And she always smiled, even when I know now she must have been exhausted." "She wanted us to have it all," Emily said softly. "The big, magical Christmases at Grandma's and the quiet, personal ones at home. She made sure we never felt like we were missing anything." Charlie smiled, leaning down to scratch behind the ears of Emily's dog, who was sprawled contentedly near the tree. "I think she loved Grandma's house, too. I bet it reminded her of being a kid, just like it does for us." They worked quietly for a while, the glow of the lights filling the room. Then Emily laughed, picking up an ornament shaped like a tiny angel with golden wings. "Remember the year we brought Mom this?" Charlie grinned. "How could I forget? She cried when we gave it to her. It had been one of their first Christmases as adults, the year they decided to thank Linda for everything she'd done to make their childhoods magical. They'd found the ornament in a little shop during a winter festival, a delicate angel with silver wings and a golden heart, just like the one they'd always imagined watching over them as kids. They gave it to her on Christmas Eve. Sitting around the fire in her cozy living room, Linda had turned it over in her hands, her fingers tracing the tiny details as her eyes glistened with tears. "She's perfect," Linda had said, her voice soft with emotion. She placed the angel near the top of the tree, right below the silver-winged angel that had been with them since the beginning. Emily smiled at the memory, the warmth of that moment spreading through her. "Mom deserves so much more than we could ever give her," she said. Charlie nodded. "But I think she knew how much we loved her. And now that I have my own kids, I understand just how hard it must have been for her. Working, making sure we had everything, keeping the magic alive year after year. It's a lot." Emily's gaze lingered on the angel at the top of her tree. "She made it look easy," she said, "but now I realize it wasn't. She gave us everything she could, and she made sure we believed in magic." As the night wore on, the two siblings sat by the fire, reminiscing about their childhood and talking about the ways they'd brought those same traditions into their own families. "Santa always knew us," Charlie said, his voice filled with certainty. "But so did Mom." Emily nodded, her heart full. "She gave us the best gift of all, Christmases we'll never forget." And as snow began to fall outside, the angel atop the tree seemed to shimmer in the soft light, her silver wings spreading a quiet, timeless love over the room.
That's a beautiful image, isn't it? The angels spreading love over the room. It really speaks to the heart of the story, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And it brings us to, I think, an interesting point. We've heard about these magical Christmases at Grandma's house, big, bright, full of presents. But Emily and Charlie seem to find something even more special in their smaller, quieter celebrations at home. What do you think that tells us?
I think it speaks to the power of intimacy and personalized traditions. While the grand spectacle of a big Christmas gathering can be exciting, it's those smaller, more intimate moments that often hold deeper meaning.
Yes, like those carefully chosen gifts Charlie was talking about, the ones that felt like Santa truly knew them. Those gifts probably wouldn't have had the same impact amidst a mountain of other presents.
Exactly. And this ties into the emotional core of the story, really. The love and effort their mother poured into creating these special moments.
Right. It's interesting how their perspective on their mother shifts as they get older. They begin to understand the sacrifices she made to make their Christmases magical.
That's a pretty common thread in coming of age stories, wouldn't you say? As we mature, we gain a deeper appreciation for the unseen efforts of our parents, the things they did quietly, without fanfare, to make our lives special.
And in this case, that appreciation seems intertwined with their memories of Christmas.
Absolutely. The holidays often serve as a focal point for these realizations, don't they? We look back on past celebrations with a new understanding, recognizing the love and effort that went into creating them. It's a beautiful way to connect with our families and appreciate the traditions we share.
Speaking of traditions, we see a contrast here between the traditions at Grandma's house and the ones at home.
Yeah, that contrast is fascinating. The lavish celebrations at Grandma's represent a certain kind of Christmas ideal, right? The one we often see in movies and commercials. But the quieter traditions at home, like decorating the tree together and reminiscing over old ornaments, that represents a more personal, intimate kind of magic.
It's almost like these two settings represent different facets of Christmas. The excitement and spectacle on the one hand, and the quiet, heartfelt connection on the other.
Exactly. And I think the story beautifully illustrates how both of these elements can contribute to a meaningful holiday experience. The siblings cherish their memories of both Grandma's house and their own home, recognizing the unique magic each setting held.
And ultimately, it's their mother who brings these two worlds together. She drives through the snow to get to Grandma's, ensuring they experience that side of Christmas,
Uh-huh.
while also creating a special atmosphere in their own home.
Yes. And I think that's a powerful message for all of us.
Yeah.
Especially those of us who are parents ourselves. It's about finding a balance between the grand gestures and the smaller, more personal moments. It's about weaving together the different threads of tradition to create a holiday tapestry that reflects our own values and priorities.
And at the heart of it all, it's about creating memories that will last a lifetime. The kind of memories that Emily and Charlie are sharing now, years later, as they decorate the tree.
And that brings us to another interesting aspect of the story. The way these memories are tied to physical objects. The angel on top of the tree, the popsicle stick reindeer, the tiny angel ornament they gave their mother.
It's like those objects serve as tangible links to the past, triggering powerful emotions and bringing those memories to life.
Exactly. They become more than just decorations. They become repositories of shared experience, imbued with meaning and sentimentality.
And it's not just the objects themselves, but the stories behind them.
Yeah.
Like the story of the angel ornament they gave their mother.
Right. That story adds another layer of emotional depth. It highlights the siblings' growing appreciation for their mother and their desire to express their love and gratitude. And the fact that their mother cried when they gave her the ornament speaks volumes.
It shows how much those small gestures of love and appreciation can mean, especially during the holidays.
It's a reminder that the most meaningful gifts aren't always the most expensive or extravagant ones. Sometimes the most precious gifts are the ones that come from the heart and reflect a genuine understanding of the recipient.
And often, those gifts are wrapped in memories that we can revisit and cherish for years to come.
Speaking of memories, there's one particular detail that struck me as especially poignant. The siblings' observation that Santa always knew us, but so did Mom.
That's a beautiful observation, isn't it? It speaks to the deep connection they shared with their mother. The feeling that she understood them on a profound level, just as Santa seemed to with his perfectly chosen gifts.
And I think it highlights something crucial about the magic of Christmas. It's not just about believing in Santa Claus. It's about believing in the power of love, connection, and the enduring spirit of the season.
And it's about recognizing the Santas in our own lives, the people who know us best and make our holidays truly special.
You know, it's interesting how the story ends with that image of the angels spreading love over the room. It's almost like a visual representation of the warmth and affection that permeate these Christmas memories.
Yeah. And it brings us back to that idea of tangible objects holding sentimental value. That angel ornament, it's not just a decoration. It's a symbol of their family's love and their shared history.
And it's a symbol that continues to resonate with them even years later. You know, notice how Emily's gaze lingers on the angel as they're talking about their mother. It's like she's drawing comfort and strength from that symbol.
It really is a beautiful reminder. Even though time passes and things change, the love and connections that we forge during the holidays, they really do stay with us.
Yeah, they do. And it's a reminder that those connections can be strengthened through shared traditions and rituals, like the way Emily and Charlie are now carrying on those traditions with their own families.
I love how the story highlights that cyclical nature of traditions. The things that brought us joy as children can continue to bring us joy as adults, and how we can then pass those traditions on to the next generation.
It's a powerful testament to the enduring power of the holiday spirit, the way it transcends generations and connects us to something larger than ourselves.
So as we reflect on this story of Christmas memories, what are some key takeaways for our listeners? What can they glean from Emily and Charlie's experiences?
Well, I think there are several valuable insights here. First, I think it's a reminder that the most meaningful holiday experiences, they often stem from the simple things. Spending time with loved ones, sharing stories, creating traditions that resonate with our own values.
So it's a reminder that those traditions don't have to be grand or expensive. What really matters is the love and intention behind them.
Exactly. And second, I think it's a call to appreciate the Santas in our own lives, the people who go the extra mile to make our holidays special.
Those unsung heroes who work behind the scenes,
Yeah.
pouring their love and effort into creating those magical moments for us.
Yes. And third, I think it's an invitation to reflect on our own Christmas memories and the traditions that have shaped our holiday experiences. What are the things that bring us the most joy? What are the stories we want to pass down to future generations?
Those are some wonderful questions for our listeners to ponder as we head into the holiday season.
They are. And finally, I think the story leaves us with a sense of hope and optimism, a reminder that even amidst the hustle and bustle of the holidays, there's always room for love, connection, and a touch of magic.
And that those moments of magic, no matter how small, have the power to stay with us long after the presents are unwrapped and the decorations are put away. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the heart of Christmas memories. We hope it sparked some reflection and perhaps even inspired some new traditions for your own holiday.
Absolutely. And from both of us, we wish you a joyous and meaningful holiday season, filled with love, laughter, and the magic of Christmas.
Thanks for dropping by Kringle's Christmas Stories, and have a very Merry Christmas. Remember to get your Comet's Choice reindeer food at cometschoice.com.